Hi again, Colleen Neal back with Let's Talk About It. This time I'm going to talk about occipital neuralgia. Um, I was diagnosed with this occipital neuralgia several months ago after I suffered an injury from a motor vehicle accident, where really my injury came from the airbag, the curtain airbag from the side. But anyway, a lot of the information online is really from a doctor's perspective. But I really wanted to talk to you from a patient perspective. So really, what is occipital neuralgia? So when you talk about occipital, what does that mean? That really means the location of your head, which is really the back of your head, the posterior of your head, occipital region. So that's what that refers to. So they're talking about a painful condition that is really affecting the back or the posterior of your head, and really the distribution of the three main nerve systems there. And we're talking about the nerves, just to be clear, we're not talking about a brain injury. We're talking about the nerves that are above your skull, right? So under your skin, between your skin and your skull. So I'm going to put a picture up in a minute, but actually, let's do it now. Let me just kind of show you so we know basically what we're talking about in terms of anatomy. I think it's important to look at that. So this is a picture. You see the needle because this person is getting a nerve block, which I've had a nerve block, and I will talk to you about that in another video. But to be clear, you're looking at the greater occipital nerve here. You have nerves, similar nerves on the left and the right. A lot of people have just occipital neuralgia on one side. About a third of the people do have it bilaterally, meaning on both sides of the back of their head. But you see there's a lesser occipital nerve, and there's actually, they don't have it on here, but there's actually a third occipital nerve as well. So when we're talking about occipital neuralgia, we're talking about some kind of pathology or pain that has to do with these nerves. And you can see they really come down into the neck area, and they're going to go, behind the ear here, and they're going to go all the way up to the top of your head. So for me, the pain that I feel, I have significant pain behind my ears, terrible pain all at the back of my head. And a lot of times I have really bad pain at the very, very crown of my head. So let me stop that share. So when we're talking about the nerves that we're talking about are this greater occipital nerve, the lesser occipital nerve, and one that's not on here, which is the third occipital nerve. So when we're talking about occipital neuralgia, these are the areas that we're talking about. So how does somebody potentially, end up with this condition? Well, most often, or in a lot of times, it's people are going to get it from some kind of physical injury or some kind of trauma. Obviously, in my case, it's from a car accident. So it could be from an athletic injury, in any kind of injury. But some people do get it from physical stress, from for whatever reason, having their head down, or even up for long periods of time. There's just constant stress on those neck muscles, and then constantly with those nerves. There's other reasons. I'm not a doctor. You can look it up, but there's other reasons that people can get this. But more often than not, it's because of some kind of trauma to that area. So what does it feel like? It's really debilitating and really painful. I've had a lot of medical issues in my life. I've had a couple of back surgeries. I've had, other accidents. And listen, these things aren't my fault most of the time. That's why they're accidents. But I've been through the ringer, and I have to tell you, occipital neuralgia is no joke. It is, it's really quite painful. It affects your ability to sleep. It affects your ability just to think properly, your ability most certainly to sleep, affects your personality because you're in chronic pain all the time. So typically it presents as like a sharp, very sharp stabbing pain for seconds or minutes or many, many minutes. For me, I have it almost all the time. And what it is for me anyway, let's imagine you want to, you don't feel good, you're in pain, right? So you want to like lay down on the couch. And let's say I want to like lie back on the couch, right? And I want to put my head back. Well, just this simple concept of like having my hand between my head and like the pillow on the couch, like that pressure hurts. So I can't do that. So it's just a constant pain. Sometimes it's almost too much to just even lie down, even like on the side of my head. So like, how do you deal with that? So for me, I have a couple like go-tos that I do. You know, a lot of people that have this condition, the doctor absolutely recommends that you also add a pain management doctor to your team. I also have vestibular migraine, so I deal with I have one doctor that I deal with just for occipital neuralgia, and then I have another specialist that I deal with just for vestibular migraine. And of course, they do work together. We can talk a little bit about how we deal with that stuff. But a couple things that I recommend. One of them is, for me, ice. Ice is the way to go. There's a lot of inflammation, obviously, in this area that causes the nerves to have this pain in the first place. So one of the things that I purchased is it's actually an ice hat. I bought this on Amazon. I'm sure they make several different kinds. This has a plastic, it has a plastic holder so you can keep it in the freezer. So, you know, it doesn't pick up any smells from the freezer, but you can see it says reusable gel ice pack. This is actually, it almost feels like a neoprene sort of, and it has some weight to it. And I keep it in the freezer and it actually goes on my head just like a hat would. It has a little hole in the top. So if I have a ponytail, and I can actually put it on my head, you know, full on my head, and it lasts for about 15 or 20 minutes. And it really like numbs my head and it helps bring down the inflammation. I wear this every single night when I go to bed to help me with the inflammation. And this is one of the only ways I can get some sleep. After I make this video, I'm probably going to wear this again so I can get some rest, because I have a considerable amount of pain right now. So this is one of the things I really, really strongly recommend. People that have migraines use these too. I just really, really strongly recommend it. The other thing that I see with people with occipital neuralgia is that there's a lot of involvement with the neck. Oftentimes there's a lot of really tension. It's very, very tight at times, really, really painful. So I use a TENS unit quite a lot. I use that. My trapezius muscles oftentimes get extremely tight. So sometimes I use this to just kind of deal with the pain, either on either side or both sides or just in the back. So I have a TENS unit that I use all the time as well. That's something that you can look into. These, you do not need a prescription for these. You can buy these online as well. You can also buy these at your local CVS, Walgreens, you know, any store around or online as well. And I think some of you can also see if your health insurance covers it. Mine did as well. Mine was actually prescribed for me. So that's something you can look into, and your physical therapist or your doctor can help you to see what is the best program and how to use this to help you with your pain as well. So that's another way to kind of deal with the pain. I also have a massager. I did not bring that here, but when my muscles get super, super crazy tight, I have to massage them myself and kind of take the pressure off. That does help a little bit. I do notice that when my muscles in my shoulders and my neck get very tight, it absolutely exacerbates the pain in my head. So there's definitely a connection there. The other thing I noticed is that sometimes just sitting and holding my head up makes the pain in my head worse. So I have to find ways to ease the stress and the tension that exists in my neck. So how do I do that? One of the things that I do is I use one of these things that you use maybe in a plane, when you're traveling. Again, sometimes it's painful to lean against a wall or lean against the back of a couch, or sometimes lean against, if you have a recliner. So to take the pressure off the back of your head and also holding your head up with your neck, I use one of these little airplane little pillow guys, and I use that, and then I can kind of sit up and have some support. And again, sometimes I use it, this way or however way you need to use it. I have one of these upstairs in my bedroom, and I have one of these downstairs in my living room. There are times that the pain is so bad in the back of my head that I cannot have the back of my head touch the mattress or even a pillow. I know that sounds insane. So by putting this around my neck, if you can imagine, it actually, when I lie down, I'm actually not having my head touch anything. This pillow is what everything is resting on, not my head. So it completely takes the pressure off my neck and my head. So this is something to think about. I also have one of those neck stabilizers, So if you really, really need some support, you can use one of those as well. Sometimes I use those in the car if I need to. And if I'm really bad, I will actually use those to sleep with. The other thing I've learned to use when I'm sleeping sometimes, this thing you guys may have seen that people use, they put it between their knees when they sleep to make sure their, hips and their legs are, straight. And I have that because I've had, a couple back surgeries, back fusion, whatnot. But since I have occipital neuralgia, I've also found that if you look at this thing, your head kind of fits in it pretty nicely. So I use this also for my head. It kind of like your neck and your head kind of fit in it really, really nicely. And I can sleep flat on my back. And this kind of cradles, you look at it, it kind of cradles your neck and your head, really nicely. So I use this to sleep and to support my head. It's just another kind of trick that I found that I can use to help me while I'm just kind of navigating this condition. So, what are some other things in the medical world that you can do to deal with this? Well, other than these remedies at home, talk to your physician. You have to have a diagnosis that this is actually what you have. And because there could be other things. If you just have straight pain 24/7, that's not stabbing, you're just dealing with soreness or whatever, you have to rule out other things, obviously. If you just have straight pain all the time, that may not be occipital neuralgia. That could be something totally different. So you have to be tested for that. But if you do have occipital neuralgia, one of the things I did do, which was both for pain relief and for diagnostics, was a nerve block. And I'll talk about that from a patient's point of view, what a nerve block, what happens in a nerve block and what that feels like. But the point of that is if you get a nerve block in those nerves and it is effective, boom, you have occipital neuralgia, right? So then you can talk about other things, and those other things might be something like radio frequency ablation, which they can basically burn out those nerves. They grow back, but it's a longer relief, right? So, the nerves could burn out and maybe be gone for, 12, 18 months, and give you really long-term relief. What I'm looking at Oh, they also do neuromodulation of the nerves. That's not something I've talked about with my doctors. It'd be interesting to see what, that's about. What I am talking about with my doctor, and I will tell you that I'm seeing my doctor next week, my occipital neuralgia doctor next week. One of the things that I am considering is something called occipital nerve decompression surgery. And if that is something I choose to do, I will absolutely be doing videos about it before, during. Obviously, I'm not going to take you into the surgery room with me, the OR with me, but I will definitely be taking you on the journey with me from a patient perspective before and right after and throughout my recovery for my occipital nerve decompression surgery. It's something I do definitely want to do if that's something my doctor recommends, because I've been struggling big time with this. I'm out of work. I can't function with this. Again, I have another piece, which is vestibular migraine, which is also really not good for me. And I want to move forward. And if that requires a surgery, I'm ready to do it, because I have occipital neuralgia every single day. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, on a pain scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably around a 6. By 8 o'clock at night, oftentimes I'm probably around a 7 or an 8. If I'm around a lot of people or a higher level of activity, or around, certainly if I am exposed to loud noises, forget it. I'm at an 8 or a 9 and really, really struggling to function and deal with high levels of pain. So for me, it's a matter of living any kind of normal life, being able to have any kind of social life at all, being able to get back to my job, and being able to just function. So for me personally, I am absolutely in on occipital nerve decompression surgery. If that's something my doctor says at this next appointment, let's do it, I'm in, and I'll bring you along on the ride. So next video, we're going to talk about what a nerve block is like for occipital neuralgia. I'll see you then. Thanks.